All right, y'all, back to work. Boy, fantastic job today. Found some beautiful trades this morning in the SOT Trader. It sounds like a lot of you guys made some pretty good money today as well, so well done on that. Boy, markets are on the move here tonight, aren't they? Big gap down at the Asian Open overnight tonight. Combine that gap down with two stacked ranges on the tick charts right now, and we have one of our favorite trade setups setting up right now called a Slingshot Reversal. I'm going to cover the entire roadmap for a slingshot, entries, exits. By the time we're done tonight, you'll have a game plan to make some money on this Slingshot Reversal as well. So charts are ready. Enough of the intro. One of the most important videos of the week. Let's dive in. And let's make some more money on Wednesday morning. S&P SPY, ready to go tonight. Nasdaq, triple Qs are all ready. I have 4 important clues on the charts tonight that are telling us where I think the winning trades are setting up for tomorrow. One of those 4 clues is right here on these hourly time frames. I like to use the hourly chart as an overall directional filter. It's very easy to see right now the buyers are in full control of momentum on the higher time frame right now. That will give us our directional bias for tomorrow. The second clue out of 4 clues tonight is over on the news calendar for tomorrow. We have a lot of news tomorrow morning. I got ASML reporting before the open tomorrow. ASML is a big part of the semiconductor supply chain. We got TSMC on Thursday, but ASML coming out tomorrow before the open. Be aware of that. I have retail sales on my mind tomorrow morning at 8:30 Eastern time. And I'm sure everyone's wondering what Jay Powell will say tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 Eastern time. So we'll keep an eye on him tomorrow afternoon, but tomorrow morning, the trade room, be aware that retail sales number, right? Will there be a big buildup before the tariffs hit in early April? That's my mind for tomorrow. Earnings for the open, retail sales at 8:30. And we'll see if Jay Powell, we'll see if he takes the bait tomorrow afternoon, because everyone's going to be asking him about raising rates or cutting rates and the pressure he's getting right now from Trump at the White House. But back to our charts, though, because it's good to know when the news is, but the bigger clues right now are definitely on the charts here. We got 2 out of 4 clues. Clues 3 and clue 4. Let's go down to our tick charts here. We don't trade time charts in our trade room. We always trade tick charts because tick charts make pattern recognition a whole lot easier. By the way, if you're watching for the first time right now, that is a 7,000 tick chart, all the time frames, upper left-hand corner. And the only indicator we use in our trade room is the 21 EMA. That's all you need to find lots of winning trades. The third clue right now, and one of the most important clues in the chart right now, are stacked ranges, multiple ranges. Range up here and range down there. Now, why would that be important? Well, first of all, ranges are magnets and they love to rotate back and forth with symmetry based amount below, the amount above, expanding triangles. Ranges love to rotate. If you combine that with this previous trading range, whenever we see a range breakout, one of the most consistent things I know about ranges is when they break out, it's almost a certainty they're going to give us a breakout pullback. You'll see on the chart right now, I have 2 breakout pullback zones below us. So again, 2 ranges. The range above us will want to rotate back and forth like a pendulum, like I teach in our free trading course, right? And the previous range is begging for a breakout pullback. Combine that now with that bullishness on the hourly time frame, it is easy to see right now that bear traps, breakout pullbacks are definitely something on my mind for tomorrow. We'll talk about that more in detail in a moment. But one of the most important clues tonight is this gap down. And oftentimes, when I see a gap down overnight, it creates a trading range down here. If we see a range down here, at first it seems like a bad thing, but it's not, because if we go into a range down here, put that all together with the 2 ranges up top above, this is what sets up that domino for a slingshot reversal. We're going to go deep into that here into the video tonight in the S&P and the Nasdaq. So the basic stuff right now is I would love to buy some bear traps down here. And when I say bear traps, think about a simple 2-tribe bear trap. So as we pull back, again, the range above us is going to want to drag this market back higher and slingshot this thing going higher here. To do this, obviously something's going on right now. I'm not going to pick a bottom on this. What I'll do is I'll wait for the price to pull back to that 21 EMA, look for what I call a two-try bear trap. It's bears once, it's bears twice. Now remember, on these bear traps, I want to get two tries here. Higher high, two tries. That way, I know where their stops are, and I can use their stops to fuel that move going higher. Now remember, when we can squeeze those stops, this will want to slingshot and rotate back higher again. Do not take your foot off the gas pedal. If this thing starts running higher off that bear trap, I will look for a higher high in price, a shallow pullback that barely misses that moving average, and an add-on going back up to the side of that trading range. So one way to capitalize on these stacked ranges, and again, we'll go deeper into that slingshot trade in a moment here, but one way to do this is a bear trap down here and an add-on. Two-try bear trap and an add-on. And again, remember, leave that runner, leave that prior week high up there. It looks like it's begging for a final target. Now, one question here. What if we don't get the bear trap down there? What if this is just one big V bottom? What if there are so many buyers down here, it just whoop and runs right back up into that range up overhead? If we see a V bottom down here, remember, I'm going to shift my entry now to finding a new channel off the high, mark it down off that low, look left, find some prior swings, and I want that first test off of that low. Oftentimes, it's simple bear trap below a prior swing. Sometimes we also see us get below that 21 EMA. The bears will come in once and twice, a two-try bear trap. We can squeeze those stops. The goal of this is to trap those bears into the low of that channel. And think about this, right? If you're caught short, you get stopped out, you have to buy your way out of that position. And again, that range overhead, it wants to rotate all the way back up and kind of slingshot up off of that low. A third variation of this, then we'll talk about that slingshot pattern I mentioned earlier. The third variation of this is that oftentimes we see a nice strong gap down. We'll get a bear trap off that low. We'll squeeze those stops up, get a nice, easy winning trade. I always go one-to-one. Stop to first target, stop moves up to point of entry once we lock up that first target. Sometimes, though, what happens is on these triangle type ranges like this, they'll hold that triangle and make another run going lower. Now, these are pretty important because what I can do is look for a buy at that low. Also, too, the size of that breakdown can be used as a measuring leg. So imagine a measured move going lower here right there. It'll be somewhere in that area right there. We call these retest trades in our trade room. If we can get that pop up, but we don't get that rotation back higher again, and they run that sucker back down again, remember, this is not a reversal. We're still overall bullish on the hourly, and I have another breakout pullback zone right below me. This is a great spot for another bite at the apple. Bears try once, bears try twice. Again, we call these retest trades. We retest that low, trap those bears in, use that two-try bear trap I keep talking about, run those stops. And again, I cannot say this enough. When you're in a winning trade, don't just sit back and relax. Look for ways to add to your winners. The easiest way to make more money is to add to your winning positions. And what I'll do is take that quick one-to-one target, half off there, add a quarter more on, add a quarter more back on right there. Trade that rotation, right? That bear trap and that add-on, trading that rotation inside of this trading range. Now, let's get serious now about that slingshot reversal. If we're lucky tomorrow, we're going to get a range down here. And again, that may not seem like a good idea at first, but I will talk about that in a second. Before we dive into this though, let's slow down for a second because I know most folks watching right now, you know these patterns already. You're making money with these already. But if you're here for the first time right now, this could be a brand new strategy. Don't you worry. I teach this entire roadmap, the entire system in my free trading course. In fact, I have a ton of examples, bear traps, add-ons, range rotations, slingshot reversals, Guys, I have so much more I want to share with you. I want to help you guys time better entries and make more money on your own account. I'll put a link up top here for you, upper right-hand corner. Hit that link that popped up there. Take that free trading course, because the strategy I teach in that short video series will teach you a simple trick we use in our members trade room that literally tells us exactly where the winning trades are going to be each day. More importantly, I want to teach you my 4 favorite entry setups so you can time better entries, make a lot more money. Guys, the markets are way too good right now not to be making consistent profits. So if you're still missing the best entries each day, if you've lost your confidence in your current strategy, what are you waiting for? Hit that link that popped up there. Watch that free trading course. Everyone loves all the trade examples I include in that short video series. The best part is it is 100% free for you. Oh, also too, keep in mind too, I'm going to put all the important links you'll need to learn the strategy, time better entries, make more consistent profits. I'll put everything you need below the video, then the description. Start first with the free video course. Most folks start making money all on their own, all from that free video class. So start there first. And also too, if you're on Twitter or X as they call it these days, I post a ton of videos and charts and mindset stuff on Twitter X in the day. If you're on Twitter X, give me a follow. Again, all the details you'll need to learn more, hopefully earn a lot more. I'll put those below the video in the description. Okay, let's now talk about that slingshot now. Now if you're new here, you know where to go to learn the entry patterns I'm talking about right now here in this video. We talked about the bear traps down here, right? Trapping the bears in and squeezing stops. We also talked about if this thing just whoop and runs right back up again, if it does, we talk about finding that new channel and getting that first test is the best test off of that low. Let's now talk about a range down here. If the trading gods are watching down on me tonight, they're going to give us that range after this gap down here in the pre-market. A range here. Now, why? Why would I say a range down here is a gift from the trading gods? Because what do ranges do? They rotate. They rotate back and forth, back and forth. Now, we're bullish on the hourly time frame. I have a breakout pullback zone down below me that's just begging to get bought, and I have a bigger range up overhead acting as a magnet. Are you seeing what I'm talking about right now? At this point, think about this. If we get a range overnight and this thing tries to run lower right now, right? Now we find ourselves at key support below with a range that is begging to rotate higher and a bigger range overhead acting as a magnet. This is why I love the idea for a slingshot reversal, and hopefully we'll get it tomorrow. Now obviously I'm not going to pick a bottom on this. I'm not going to blindly buy down here. But if I can get this thing going range bound overnight and then push lower, what I can do is use that same 2-try bear trap. Get those bears trying once. Let them try twice. Remember, always higher high. Always higher high. Higher high because sellers want to sell high, right? Sellers want to sell high here. So trap them in, squeeze those stops, and again, if there's one scenario where you need to add to this winner, it's always going to be that shallow pullback, that higher high in price. A lot of examples of these, right, in the free video course. That add-on. And again, you want that shallow pullback, right? That pullback will barely miss the 21 EMA. That's the giveaway. This is why I only use the 21 EMA. I only care about what that looks like as it pulls back right there. The bear trap and the bear miss on that, right? So higher high, shallow pullback, you're not going to get much better add-on entries right there. Now again, in this case, we know the amount below, the amount above, we know where the market wants to go right now, but do you really think in this situation, with this range up here, begging to rotate do you really think they'll stop right there? Probably not, right? Probably not. If we're lucky, what will happen is we'll bust right through that pendulum swing and get one of two more patterns. One would be this would be too good to be true, really, to be honest with you. This would be almost better than I think could be happening tomorrow. If it blasts higher here, I would love to then use that range for a breakout pullback. Now, breakout pullbacks are almost always going to be 2 tries. I'll be surprised if we get this tomorrow, but hey, I don't control the markets. This would be great for tomorrow. I say I'd be surprised because these slingshots, they rip. We call them slingshots for a reason, for crying out loud, right? They rip. So the idea that we're going to get a two-legged pullback here back to that range, I love the idea of it. And please, hope we'll get that, right? But again, I would hold my breath for that one, right? But that'd be a great way to jump back in or add to the winner. And again, remember, right, when I do this, I'm not going to blindly buy it. I'm going to keep using that to try bear trap and the add-on, right? So we pull back, bears once, bears twice. In my experience, the easiest, most consistent way to make profit in a bullish market like this right now is to trap sellers below that 21 EMA, right? Every time we go below 21 EMA, look for ways to trap the bears. It's that bear trap. It's that add-on. And again, leave that runner. What is more realistic up here is we may see something like this where range here, we do get that breakout lower. We trap the bears in. We get that squeeze running higher. And what is more realistic right now is it begins to grind, right? Grind like that. Again, I would love to get a breakout pullback. I would love the idea, right? But again, don't hold your breath on that. Again, because these do tend to slingshot, as the name suggests. What is more likely though is it grinds higher like this. And this just is easy. Just go like this. Trend off the highs, down off that low, and all we do is find that first test is the best test. I will tell you right now, there's no such thing as guaranteed in trading, but if we get a slingshot like this and the low of that channel, that is about as close to a guaranteed winner you're ever going to get, right? Because at this point now, you have all that momentum, slingshot off that low, you have this big range just rotating off that low and that prior week high. There might as well be a bullseye up there that says, just take me out in this situation. So again, no guarantees, obviously, right? But that's a really very high percentage trade in my over 15 years experience of doing this. So a slingshot reversal is when we see a bear move down into a trading range, right? It's a bull market overall, bear range. We fake out, break it off that low, bear trap, and whoop, right back up. It crushes through all the pendulum swings. And again, we'll see, right? Will it be that pop and grind? Will it be that two-legged pullback? Time will tell on that, right? But remember, as it rotates back in, right, keep looking for those add-ons, right? The add-ons are the key, right? The add-ons are the key. It separates off that moving average and that add-on. All right, Nasdaq's getting lonely over here right now. Now, what if we go higher here? What do we do in this area up top here, right? What do we do up there? Do we buy it up there? Do we sell it up there? Let's talk about that right now, because let's make sure we're ready for all the different scenarios playing out for tomorrow. Over on the Nasdaq right now, and you can easily see the buyers who are in full control here on the NQ. Before I dive into the tick charts though and talk about some more scenarios for tomorrow, if you're enjoying this video tonight, please help me grow this channel by hitting that like button and make sure you subscribe. I know we're all busy people right now. I know it's tax season. I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching my stuff. So thank you for all the likes, subscribes, and all the ongoing support. Now, let's roll those sleeves up, dive into those tick charts, and make some money here on the Nasdaq. Nasdaq is the exact same situation. We have multiple ranges, a range up here and a range down there. Again, this range overhead is going to want to rotate back and forth. The range below us, you can see, is begging for a breakout pullback. One of the most consistent things I know about ranges is they almost always, literally almost always break out pullback. So very much a big goal of mine for tomorrow. And then we get this gap down, right? The gap down is what really sets in motion the potential for a slingshot, right? Because now that gap down obviously tells us something, right? Something is pushing this market lower here. It wouldn't gap down like that for no good reason, right? So now, again, we mentioned earlier, we can trap those bears in, squeeze those stops back up, the V-bottom scenario, the retest scenario. Remember, the retest trade is one of the best ones for tomorrow, because all that momentum going lower, we might get that bear trap popping up. It may make another leg lower. Remember, keep in mind, right, that breakout leg, measured leg. These retests are oftentimes our biggest winners, right? Because they trap in so many people. Remember, in a bullish market like this, remember bullish on the higher time frame, don't let a strong retest, don't let a retest of that low, don't let that fool you into thinking this is a reversal. It's not a reversal, right? The hourly time frame, we're too bullish right now for that move only. We need more than that to be a reversal, right? So retest trades are amazing in these scenarios as well. And again, hopefully you probably heard the excitement in my voice tonight. I love when I see a bear range, right? A bear range in an overall bull market, right? That's the key. It's a bullish overall and a bear range. We go lower, bear trap, and just slingshot, just rip right back up. Now, the next question is as we find ourselves up around these highs, what do we do up here? Well, I mentioned earlier that prior week high is just begging. There's a bullseye right on that prior week high right now. That big move higher after that 90-day pause of tariffs, last Wednesday into Thursday. So I would imagine that anybody who bought that big dip, anyone who's buying the dips right now, where do you think their profit targets are? They're right back at these highs right now. So buyers down here, I can almost guarantee you, unless something changes tomorrow morning. Obviously, we get news tomorrow morning. The world is a very dynamic place right now. Things are changing rapidly. So all things equal, unless something changes in the next 12 hours or so, I would imagine anyone who buys these dips right now, they're going to sell these highs here, right? Buyers down here become sellers up here because that is where they take their profit targets, right? Buyers get out by selling their way out. Okay, so I like the idea. I love the idea actually of a short setup up there. Okay, because again, ranges, they love to rotate. So that rotation down wants to rotate higher here. This is not a good place to be a buyer up here. Now, I know what you're thinking, but we're bullish overall. You're exactly right. We're very bullish overall on the hourly. So to sell up here, I need a very small adjustment called a crown reversal pattern. I know a lot of you guys love these patterns. So they're very simple, right? They're basically a 2-try bull trap with a small little twist, okay? So normally we'll go buyers once, buyers twice, and then sell underneath that low, right? It's basically a 2-try bull trap. The problem though is in an overall bullish market, and we have to assume at that point a lot of strength going higher, this is not going to be easy to pick that top. So a crown reversal pattern, it's one more layer involved. It's a 2-try bull trap with a technical trap high. And that word technical trap high will make more sense once you join our free trading classes. But bottom line is, I want to see a lower low in price, get those buyers trapped in, and a strong red candle closing back below that moving average. It's very important that on a crown reversal pattern, I need to sell as high as I can, right? Because we're going against the overall direction. And remember, whenever I go against the hourly time frame, it's always a half size trade, a quarter size trade. It's not a full size position. We go big on our best setups, and the best setups always go with momentum in an area where I can risk small to earn large, right? Good risk reward, a good risk reward up here, but not according to momentum on the higher time frame. So a crown reversal pattern, I need to be very careful. I don't want to sell this as it goes lower because again, we're so bullish. What happens oftentimes is I get that entry, that 1-to-1 gets hit, and then sure enough, there's some larger channel over here coming in, and this thing just rips and takes off and goes higher here. I need to have that risk off. I need to get that stop down to point of entry as fast as I can, take that first target, remove that risk, and hopefully it'll keep on rolling back down again. We'll get that pendulum back down again, and then bear trap back up again. Also, to keep in mind too, we do oftentimes see V-tops up here. You know, for example, we may slingshot off that low. There might be so many profit taking up here, so many bears up here, I may not get that crown reversal and back down again. It may just get whacked and then drop right back down again. If it V-tops, like a V-bottom, it'll oftentimes begin to grind going lower. And again, these are easier in my eyes because now momentum's turned over for you. Mark off that low, mark off that high, find that prior swing. Remember, on these types of entries, the first test just above that prior swing right there. Gosh, again, there's no such thing as guarantee winners, but these are really, really high percentage trades here. Because again, at this point now, momentum now is already turned over, right? Now, psychologically, it's easier for bears to get on board with this now because now we're starting to grind down below that moving average. And oftentimes what happens to me is that voice in my head will try to convince me into chasing after it, right? That voice in your head, if you're human, there'll be a voice saying, come on, get in, get in, get in. You don't want to chase after it though. Wait for that first test, get that bull trap, get that buyer failure, get that add-on, right? Again, I can't forget about the add-ons, right? The add-ons are so easy once you start looking for them, right? That shallow pullback, that separation, that lower low in price, and that add-on above that high. A lot of examples of first test is the best test and the add-on in that free trading class I mentioned earlier, right? Let that sucker run on the way back down again. I'm not as big of a fan of a retest trade here. So pop up, 1, 2, and retest. I'm not as big of a fan of a retest trade because we are so bullish overall on the hourly. If we get a really strong slingshot off that low, again, the retest trade will be a little bit less desirable on that one just because of the overall bullishness on the hourly time frame. And if this thing really cooks, right? If this thing really breaks out and starts grinding, if we slingshot off this low, right? If we slingshot the low here and we start popping and grinding like this, remember, this range is going to want to break out pullback. So think about that two-legged pullback, one leg, two leg. Whenever I think about a breakout pullback, I always think about a two-legged pullback, one leg, two leg. And again, use the top of that range now, get below the moving average, bears once, bears twice, trap them in for that breakout pullback, right? Makes sense, right? Breakout pullback, that two-try failure into that add-on, going back up to retest that high. So if we slingshot off that low tonight or tomorrow morning, if we see this thing, right, running down and really start getting that punch going higher here, the minute I start seeing it, if it starts grinding up, right, if it pops up and starts grinding, it'll pop up, it'll slingshot, pop up, and start grinding, okay? The grinding is always the giveaway, okay? Grinding markets are very difficult to stop. So if it grinds up like that, I no longer want to short. I now want to go out now and either start using that range for a breakout pullback, or the most aggressive one is draw that trend line off the high, off that low, right? And buy that first test is the best test off that channel. All right, guys? That is why I hope we get a range down here overnight. Set things up for a slingshot reversal, and the rest of this, we'll let time tell. We'll see how things play out tomorrow morning in our trade room. Now, speaking of tomorrow, that's the game plan for tomorrow, the place to be is in our trade room. 8 o'clock Eastern time. Guys, I can't think of any better way to learn to trade correctly than to do it with me every morning at the opening bell. As always, guys, I'll put all the important links you need to learn the strategy, time better entries, make more consistent profits. Again, start first on the free video class. Enjoy all the trade examples I include in the video course, then come join me in the morning trade room and we'll do it together. In the meantime, guys, make a bunch of money for us tomorrow morning. Keep the good times rolling. Be well, be nice to each other out there, and you better be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.